Hello everyone and welcome back to the Ability 411. It's Wednesday and I'm your host Amber Marcy. This week we are talking about bathroom issues, specifically cathing and urological issues. This is an issue that I have had a lot of issues with since day one. I was 15 when I got hurt. Never had a bladder infection in my life. I was in the hospital for maybe 4 days right after being hurt. Bladder infection. That's when I got my first one. Not only did I have bladder infection problems, I had leaking problems on top of it. It got to the point where the leaking was worse than the bladder infections. They would clear up, but I would still be leaking terribly. I tried many medications through the years. It's almost 16 years that I've been in a chair. So I tried medications for leaking in between cathing, and just nothing was working for me. I was soaking through diapers. I was sleeping on a bed pad and waking up in the morning, and that was soaked. I have full feeling, so I would be sitting in a wet diaper, and it was really uncomfortable. And being 15 and then being in your 20s and wearing a brief is not only embarrassing, but uncomfortable and just not really what I wanted to do on top of cathing. It was already an inconvenience, and this was just making it a way bigger inconvenience. And I was leaking so much that it was almost to the point that I didn't even need to cath, because I would cath and nothing would come out because my bladder was empty. Yet the urologist always told me, make sure your bladder's empty, so I would still cath. So this was an issue that I dealt with for a really long time. And I had talked to my urologist many times about, there has to be some other option. These medications aren't working. And he said, well, there are other options, and it's surgery. And it's an intense surgery. And I decided one day, I woke up and it was just, I had had enough. My mom and I had discussed it, and my dad, and he says, whatever's going to make you happy. My mom's terrified because it's a very intense surgery. And I just said, that's it. And I called the urologist that day and I had the surgery. And what they did was took part of my intestine, cut my bladder in half, and made my bladder bigger. This not only made my bladder bigger, but it also took all of the spasticity out of my bladder, which was causing me to leak all the time. So I now have had what they call a bladder augmentation. So I have a really big bladder. And I have not leaked a drop to this day since I had the surgery. And it has been amazing and extremely helpful. This is not something I'm saying that viewers out there, if you're having bladder problems, that you should do. This is something that was my choice that worked for me. And it was a big choice. This was, lots and lots of days in the hospital, days prior to surgery, on strong antibiotics, making sure there was no infection. Post-surgery, was in the hospital for a really long, for I think a total of 18 days or something like that. It wasn't a small deal. So this is something that, you really have to think about if it's that bad. And like I said, there are other things out there. There's medications, and, talk to your regular MD or your urologist about it if you're having these problems, because there are options out there. But I wouldn't go as extreme as having surgery like I did unless you're really, really having issues that are interfering with your life. I mean, cathing is already a pain in the butt, as we all know, and leaking and heavy leaking on top of it is just even worse. So I'm going to switch gears a little bit and show you what kind of catheter I use. I know that Erica showed you the SpeedyCath for women, which she uses, which is super awesome, and I wish that I could use too. But being a quad, I don't have the dexterity, and I don't transfer to the toilet to cath like Erica does. I don't have the function. So I use what they call the Kathleen, and it's just in a small package like this, so it can fit in my purse or a bag. And it's a closed system. Everything's here. It's pre-lubed. It's a small bag that I drain right into the bag, and then you can just dump it into the toilet or throw it away, I suppose, if you want to just throw it away. But I usually dump it, just tear the bag and dump it. And it's really easy. It works really well, and I'm able to do it by myself. So I am a rep for catheters. So if any of you have questions out there on products, or just if there's anything else that you think you should be using, or you don't know about a certain catheter and you have questions, feel free to Facebook me or email and ask. Otherwise, ask your supplier. There's always something out there if you're having trouble and it's just not a technique that's slow, or you think that maybe there's something that is faster. By all means, look into it, because if you think there is, there usually is. So I hope that you enjoyed my segment, and that this gave you some kind of idea where the realm is. I mean, some people don't have any problems, and some people have severe problems like I did, and I hope that what I told you helps and gives you some answers. And I encourage you, if you are having problems, to seek out a urologist, which is somebody who just specializes in just the bladder. So they can look into problems a little further than a regular MD if you're having serious problems. So I am by no means an expert on this issue. I have just had a lot of bladder issues in the 16 years that I've been in a chair. So I hope you're all having a great Wednesday, and I hope you enjoyed my segment. I will see you next week. Thanks. Bye-bye.